Let's get it to the next level. The muscle up. The most rewarding yet the most demanding upper body basic calisthenics exercise there is. If you ever wonder why you can't get above the bar, in today's video I'll help you out on how to achieve your first muscle up and taking it above 10 muscle ups. The muscle up is so demanding because it utilizes both your posterior as well as anterior chain of the upper body, making you go from a pull into a transition into a push to the dip. That's why I would argue it's one of the best upper body exercises there is. Now you can forget all the rubber bands and also all the winging as well as swinging and keeping muscle ups that we see. We want to focus on the strong foundations in both training, nutrition and recovery. This is what I did when I went from 0 muscle ups to above 20 muscle ups, breaking the national record here in Finland. And more from a philosophical standpoint, it was Socrates who said that it's a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness before seeing what manner of man you may become by developing your bodily strength, beauty to their highest limit. I think this is such a powerful quote of trying to push ourselves to the limits to see what we are actually capable of doing with our bodies. Now I think the muscle up is such a gateway drug of seeing what your body is actually capable of doing. So it is about getting in phenomenal shape. Now the great news is that you don't have to spend all your free time in the gym. This is the way I've been training over the years, working in finance and working also in our startup. The main principle here that I've been doing is to work out 3 times per week for roughly 45 minutes each training session. I'm not saying that's the only thing you need to do, but this is a very strong foundation that you build by very minimalistic tools that you can use in order to achieve amazing strength as well as the muscle up. So lots of tips coming up in order to achieve your muscle up. So while the muscle up looks like an epic bar move that moves in a smooth transition from a pull into a push, it is actually a complex move with many moving parts that we need to demystify. So first of all, let's start with what you shouldn't be doing. Now first of all, you shouldn't be doing these winging muscle ups that are technically wrong and also have a risk of injuring your shoulders rotator cuffs. You should also avoid these momentum using keeping muscle ups that we many times see folks doing. One of the, if not the most common way I see people trying to learn the muscle up the wrong way is by utilizing the elbows, pulling ourselves straight up towards the bar. Now this is a big mistake and I'm quite confident that you will not learn the muscle up this way. So next I'm gonna break down the way I learned the muscle up. I focus on 2 parts. The first is technique and nervous system programming, and the second part is to improve our strength for this highly demanding move. First of all, we need to get the motion of the muscle up right. So actually in the muscle up, you're going a little bit forward before you go up. This way things will be a lot smoother going forward. So for instance, put a cap on the ground and try to dip your toes towards it. This way you're ready to slingshot yourself backward up. And here you can actually see why I'm not using my elbows, but instead my elbows are straight. And yes, while I'm going up, I'm going kind of in an backward motion, meaning that I'm gonna do an inverted U pull up towards the bar. Next, we need to get the motion of the muscle up going ASAP. So we have the so-called jumpers muscle ups, where we jump from the ground and we pull ourselves above the bar. Try to use as little as possible of your legs here and use most of your upper body here in order to get above the bar. Use a slow descent towards the ground so you're getting into a negative muscle up. Okay, so here's a small secret, the false grip that you need in the muscle up. Basically what you do is to bend the wrist a little bit above the bar so it's easier to get above the bar. Next, let's talk about strength. So many say that you should be able to do 10 to 15 pull-ups before trying to learn the muscle up. While there's some truth to it, I think this is only the beginning of this discussion. You also need to make sure that you're transferring the pull-up from just getting your chin above the bar to moving the bar lower towards chest to bar pull-up. This way you need to progress to a hips to bar pull-up. So it's a high pull-up. Now you see you're very close on getting your first muscle up. So we discussed the hardest part of the muscle up, which is utilizing the upper body's posterior chain. Next we have the more easier part, which is the anterior part of the upper body, doing dips, and also when you come down, for instance, from the dip, go in a slow descending way. This way you reap the rewards of negative eccentric training to get hypertrophy gains. Next we can move to the final epic step of getting that muscle up. Here we first off have rollovers of the bar so we can get above into the muscle up motion. Try to go as slowly as possible on the way down, again to reap the rewards of eccentric training. So then, it's time. We got the first muscle up coming up. If you get here, congratulations. Something that can help you here that is perhaps not so clean is to use your knees a little bit to get some momentum into the muscle up. Once you get to the final step, it's time to clean out the technique. Straight knees into the muscle up. So this is a really highly demanding one. And then when you think about getting to 20 muscle ups, there's many things you can do. Then you can learn different variations such as explosive muscle ups and finally to get to 20 muscle ups. Now this is really demanding. To get more muscle up repetitions in one set, you need to do things differently. Here you can do high set but low rep muscle ups. This means that instead of doing, for instance, 3 sets of muscle ups, you do 5 to 10 sets of muscle ups per training sessions, but you only do 2 to 3 repetitions each set. This way you get a lot of rest, but you also get in a lot of volume per training session. Next, my final secret hack that I used in order to get to 20 muscle ups, which is the national record here in Finland of most consecutive muscle ups, was that I used 6 sets of muscle ups, reps to failure each set. This is a really hard way of training, so I shared with you some tips at the end of this video that can help you to achieve these training sessions. Also, another thing you can try is to do, for instance, these so-called supersets where you do 10 muscle ups and on the 10th muscle up you do 10 dips and then you go straight down into a pull-up and you do 10 pull-ups. It's as hard as it sounds. Let me know below in the comment section if you also been able to do this. The key is here to do the progressions of building progressive overload in the muscle up, but also focus on getting to a lower body fat percentage, because this was one of the mistakes I did early on where I was closer to around 15% body fat and I thought I was less strong than I actually was, but it was more that I was carrying around extra body fat. And when you think about calisthenics, it's actually you lifting yourself against gravity, so you don't want to carry around any extra weight. I've gone as low as 5%, but you don't have to go there, but 10% you will see some quite nice developments here on how fast you actually can progress. So I'll link the video at the end of this one where you can check out the optimal body fat percentage you could aim for, and also discussion around that is regarding nutrition. And once you actually get to the advanced level of muscle ups, then you could try something where we use hand cooling of the palms. This is a small final step and tip that you can use. I actually used this as my secret weapon when I was trying to achieve both muscle up world record as well as the national record here in Finland. I used something called hand cooling and cooling down the core temperature of the body. I did this super high intensity training session, 6 sets of muscle ups, reps to failure, 3 times per week. It was absolutely brutal. Even though it was really tough, I recovered well because I used this technique that you also can check the video at the end of this one. That's a small tip for you as well if you want to go to that next level. Anyways, hope you found this video valuable. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you found it valuable. I'll see you guys in the next video.